All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to my favorite day of the week, Friday, for various reasons. Number one, it's Friday. Hard to go wrong with that. And number two, it's Masterclass Friday. So it's the time that the Adobe Evangelists get to spend an hour with you sharing their favorite tips, techniques, deep dives on their various disciplines. So we usually start the morning off with Paul Tranny doing Photoshop, I believe, and then I do photography. Then we do a daily creative challenge, and Paul comes back and does graphic design. Jason does motion and video. Howard does UX UI design with XD, and then then Kyle comes back and does drawing and painting. So with that said, today we're going to continue our process of learning things about photography, learning things about Photoshop and Lightroom. And if you're watching on one of my channels, you're watching on my Twitter, you're watching on my YouTube, you're watching on my Facebook, wherever you're watching from, that's great. You can hang out there, you can watch wherever you want. But if you want to participate in the chat, if you want me to see your questions, then you need to head over to b.net/Adobe Live. So b.net/Adobe Live is the one chat that I'll get a chance to look at. I may glance over and see your question somewhere, but if you really want me to see it, head over to this, log in with your Adobe ID, which of course is free to create. You can even log in with your social media, and then then I will see any questions you may have. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and pop into today's topic. Let me just close this one image I kind of did I have a little pre-stream I do. We don't need this image open for the pre-stream anymore. Let me close it and let me head over to where I want to be. All right, so now that we're there, I just want to give some shout outs to the people in the chat. So Deb Davis, hello, hello back. Tim is here, Tim Mobist, and Murray, and Nicholas, and Victoria, and Sean, and J.R. Flores, and Christine, and Debbie, and Julie, and Roger, and a whole bunch of other people whose names have scrolled by. But welcome, everyone, and let's go ahead and kick things off with my process for working with a graduation shoot. Because it's going to be that time of year, and hopefully with everything that's going on with the pandemic, you might get out and actually get to do some photos for your grads, for whether it's out and about or you know them and you can photograph them indoors. But at some point, you might get a chance to photograph some grads, or you might even get a chance to do a wedding this year. You know, all things are possible as we get closer and closer to being, I won't say back to normal, but back to a position where we can actually commingle and be around people. All right, so with that said, let me check one more thing over here before I jump in. Hang on, I just want to make sure I'm on the right page over here. All right. Okay, cool. I'm on the right page, and let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so hey Sean, hey Maurice, hey Barbara, hey Raymond. I see you guys over there on Facebook. Head over to b.net/Adobe Live if you want me to see what you're saying. Okay, so I've got a grad shoot that I did. Oh God, it's been 3 years ago. It's 2018. These two people in the shoot, they were graduating, I believe, from college. So they're not high school grads, they're college grads. And they came into my home studio because, in 2018, you can come into a home studio and you can take shots. So I kind of photographed them on just a generic gray background. And I think we did ultimately go outside and do some stuff too, but I have 549 frames, 549 frames from that shoot. I've also taken those 549 frames, I did this up front, and I created a collection for them. So we're not looking at the folder, we're actually looking at a collection. And by the way, for this, we're in Lightroom Classic versus Lightroom. For example, I do have the same shoot over in Lightroom because I did sync this shoot. So if I head over to my iPad, for example, there it is. Same shots in Lightroom on my iPad. Because even if you imported them into Lightroom Classic, once you create a collection, you can sync that collection and even go do some of this work that I'm about to show you on your mobile devices, such as your phone or your iPad. Let's go ahead and switch back to the desktop though for the bulk of this. Let's take a look at one thing I want to show you right off the bat. And I kind of turned my normal display off because this is the way Lightroom defaults. And I think you're missing out if you don't make this one change. Lightroom Classic doesn't support the Sony camera. Well, support it in what way? I know people that use Lightroom and Sony cameras all day long. So it doesn't support tethering, but it certainly supports Sony cameras and supports Sony RAW and so forth and so on. All right, and by the way, even if you want to do tethering, there are plugins for it. So Tether Tools has a plugin for Sony cameras for Lightroom Classic. So again, be more specific with that comment, and maybe you're saying something that I'm not aware of. All right, let's jump in. Rick, thanks for watching my videos for years, and let me show you this one quick thing with the view. So right now I'm looking at my grid view, and Lightroom defaults to this just kind of ghosted numbering system where it just starts at the top of your grid, numbers all the way down. These numbers actually don't map to the images. It's just, this is the 9th image right now, but if I rearrange them, then it won't be the 9th image anymore. So it's not like this is number 9, and if I move this one over, the other one becomes number 9. No, or the other one stays number 9. Nope, this one's number 9 now. So just keep in mind that these numbers are just there as like more counting than they are anything else. So they don't mean anything to me. And this view doesn't tell me anything about these photos. Did I shoot these in RAW? Did I shoot these in JPEG? When did I shoot them? So forth and so on. So one of the first things I do, and I turn it on, and once you turn it on, you don't ever have to turn it off, is you go up to your view menu and you come down to your grid view style. And at your grid view style, you notice you got some checks here. Show extras, show badges, but right now, like I said, it defaults to compact cells. Yep, you're right. It does not support it for tethering, but like I said, there are options to get tethering into Lightroom Classic with a Sony camera. So I would invite you to go investigate tethering, especially from Tether Tools. Like I said, they have a plugin for it. So and I don't know if it's for that specific model, but they definitely have a plugin for it. All right, so the next thing, like I said, is you see it's on compact cells, and that's by default, and that's what I don't like. So I'm going to go ahead and switch it to expanded cells. Those numbers go away because they don't mean anything for me anyway. But what I get is I get more information about the shots. So I get the name of the shot, I get the format of the shot, I get the time and date stamp of the shot. So these were literally 3 years ago, like for April 8, 2018 versus 2021. All right, and you can dictate what information is displayed in those. So if I go to my view menu one more time, and I go to view options, then for my grid view, for my expanded cell view, I can go in and turn on or turn off anything else that I want. So there is an index number. There is a number up there. It's not big. It's like number 1, number 2. So those numbers are there. But if that's not important to you, you can go change it to something else that is more important to you. So we already have the file name, but you could say, for example, what folder is it in, if that's important to you. You could say, what rating does it have? Whatever does it have. Now, again, you've got information at the top and information at the bottom of the expanded cells. So just keep in mind that some of that information may already be there that you're trying to do. So for example, let me go into file extension. For example, if I were to rate this as 5 stars, the rating information is down there. If I were to make it a pick by hitting the letter P, the pick flag already displays there. If I were to make it a green color label by hitting the number 8, the green's there. So I get all of that information in my expanded cells quickly and easily. All right, so now that we just kind of turned it into an environment that's more conducive for this kind of work, let me unflag this. Let me set it back to 0, and let me ungreen it. So that would put all those things back. And now we're going to go through the process of elimination, the first elimination round. And I invite you probably for the elimination round. Now, I highlight the importance of doing this in a collection, But for my first elimination round, I usually do that in the folder because I'm eliminating photos. I'm saying this photo, her eyes were closed, the flash didn't fire, whatever the reason is, it's a photo I'm never going to use. So when I mark it as a reject, I want to delete it. But if I mark it as a reject in a collection and hit delete, then it's just going to delete it from the collection. It's not going to remove it from the hard drive. It's not going to remove it from Lightroom. So I'm going to do it in the collection just in case, but I'm going to show you what I mean by that whole process in just a minute. So what we want to do is we want to get into a mode where we can judge these photos more appropriately. In other words, there are small thumbnails right now. I can't really even see if her eyes are open on each one or not because they're so small. Now, you can, of course, make your thumbnails bigger or smaller. So I can make them smaller. Now I really can't tell. I can make them bigger. Oh, now I can tell. But it's just, that's not the best way to do this. So I'm going to make my thumbnails a reasonable size for me. And then I'm going to go into a different view for the culling, for the decision making. Now I'm going to show you some tips and tricks along the way. Some of the things that I did some of this stuff early on in the master classes when I first started this series, but we really didn't spend a ton of time on this part of the process. So I'm dedicating this entire episode to this part of the process. So let's go through the various ways we're going to do this. Number one, grid view, letter G, takes me to this view anytime I want, lets me see all the photos in a grid. Hitting the letter E for loop view will put it in this view where you're looking at one photo at a time. You still have information in the upper left-hand corner. You can certainly see it bigger. You still have all your Lightroom interface around you. And you can also customize that tool panel at the bottom for other things you might want. So for example, at the bottom here, it's got grid view, loop view, compare view, that's probably survey, survey view, and people view. So those views are already there. I have my flags, I have my star ratings, I have my rotation, and I have my zoom. So that stuff's already there in my case. But if I go to this menu over here in the bottom right-hand corner, then I can see what's missing. So I can see my navigation arrows are missing. I can turn those on. So now I can just click the arrows left or right if I don't want to do it from the keyboard. My color labels were missing. I can now turn those on. So they're there. So anything that's missing from this, you can go in and display it. So I can turn on my sorting. So right now it's sorted this in custom order because I moved a photo. So it automatically put it in custom order. I can change it from oldest to the front or newest to the front based on whatever that order is. And I can also choose a couple more, grid overlay, show grid. So you can have a grid overlay, you can change the size of the grid. I never use that, but it's good to know it's there. And then you can have one more, slideshow. And this gives you the slideshow button. So if you hit the slideshow button, it will start a default slideshow. So you can see why some of these things are turned off because, yeah, if you're not doing a slideshow every time you're into your collection, then why do you need a button there? If you're not ever using the grid view, why do you need it there as a control? So that's why a lot of these things are turned off, but I just wanted to show you what all your choices were. So like, for example, I don't need the grid overlay. I don't need the slideshow button in this case. But the other things I kind of like, so I'll leave them there. All right, so now that we got our first photo up, it's bigger, and it will be bigger if your display is bigger, but it's going to be full size in this window. Now, you can always click to zoom, so you can zoom in on it. New in Lightroom, Classic and Lightroom, you have the ability to hold down your Command key, and you can zoom into a specific spot in the photo. That's nice. You can drag a selection around whatever it is you want to zoom in, and you get even tighter. So you're no longer limited to 1 to 1, 1 to 2, 1 to 4. Like, you can zoom in on any area that you want. So she's done some nice nail work there. Ooh, look, 2018, there we go. That's cool. So we can see any part of the photo to check for sharpness, to check for details, to check for anything that you might think is distracting in the photo. You can do that by quickly zooming. So that's nice to be able to do that in loop view. But honestly, I don't do my culling in this view because I can have a bigger view. I can have full screen. So if I hit the letter F, that takes me to full screen, and it gets rid of all the other Lightroom stuff around it. So now I'm just focused on my photo. I can decide if this is the photo I want. Now, so I'm seeing a question over here from Adam. Why do they call it Lightroom Classic? Because this version of Lightroom is the version that is the classic version. It's been around for, I forgot how many years now. What is it, 20 years now? 15 years, 14 years? No, I think it's around 14 years now. And there's a newer version of Lightroom that we just call Lightroom. I don't want to get into all the different reasons why the naming is the way it is, because there's really no real good reason for the naming the way it is. But what you've always known as the official name, Adobe Photoshop Lightroom, has become Adobe Photoshop Lightroom Classic. This version has been around since day one. The newer version, like the one I showed you on the iPad, is just called Lightroom. So I just refer to them as LR and LRC. That way people kind of like get used to that habit of calling them that. Okay, back to our story. So I've got it in full screen. Now I need to know how to do all the things I said I wanted to be able to do to pick my best photos, to figure out which ones are best, which ones are rejects, which ones are just okay, which ones I like, so forth and so on. So if you wanted to get to the next photo, let's say this one's, it's okay, I don't need to do anything to it. I don't hate it, I don't love it, it's just okay. Then I can hit the right arrow key. That'll take me to the next photo. So, and I say right arrow key on the keyboard. Now, if I decide that, and I'm just doing this for the sake of demonstration, if I decide that I like this photo, then I have to decide a system for my likes. What I mean by that is I'm not the only one that's going to be looking at these photos. Like I said, these were two people that were in this shoot. You're going to see the guy a little bit later on as we get through the photos. But she's going to like some, he's going to like some, their parents are going to like some, so forth and so on. Different people are going to like them. So you have in Lightroom Classic, you have 3 methods for determining, or I should say, marking a photo. So let me go through those. And I kind of already did. You have star ratings. So we 1 through 5 stars. You have, and here, let me go to loop view. So there we go. We have 1 through 5 stars. So I can make it 5 stars, I can make it 4 stars, I can make it 3 stars, 2 stars. You get the idea. Make as many stars as I want. And it's either a star, it's either 1 or more stars or nothing. I have color labels. And the color labels are all mapped to the keyboard except purple, because they ran out of keys. So 1 through 5 on the keyboard, star 1, star 2, star 3, star 4, star 5. So if I just tap 5 on my keyboard, it sets it to 5. If I tap 0 on my keyboard, it sets it to 0. So it takes the 5 away. Well, then how do I get red? Well, red is the next number, 6. And 7 for yellow, and 8 for green, and 9 for blue. And that's why we're out of numbers, because the next number is 0. So you don't have one for purple, but you could always click on purple if you really want to mark something purple. There's no keyboard shortcut for it by default that I know of. So if I click it again, that turns it off. So stars, color labels, what's number 3? Whether it's a pick or not. So there's a little flag down there, a little white flag that marks it as a pick. So picks, stars, color labels. Which ones for which? Which ones are, do you have to use for what? There is no have to use. You use whatever you want. So if you decide that, hey, for me, I like picks when it was my favorite, then I click the letter, or I hit the letter P on my keyboard, it marks it as a pick. And by the way, if you're in Lightroom, it's the letter Z. I don't know why. I don't know why they wouldn't make that P as pick as well. But anyway, you mark it as a P or pick. Or maybe you set a color label for yourself. And that's what I did years ago. I set the color green for me. So if I mark a photo green, I know that's one of my favorites. If it's her favorite, I designate it blue as the customer pick. If there's a makeup artist or hairstylist or someone else there, I designate it yellow as their color. And that still gives me 2 more colors to play with. So that way, if I'm scrolling through the grid and I see a green, oh, that's one of mine. I love that one. If I see a blue, oh, she was standing behind me and said, oh, I really like that one. That's the one I really like. So That way I can visually see which ones are favorites of whose favorites they are. Now, that's what I've done. So that's what I've done for determining who likes what. Then what are the stars and picks for me? I go through this process. I pick out the ones I like. Delete the ones I don't like. I'm done. Now I hand off a gallery to that person. And then that person has to decide which ones they like. And so when they decide which ones they like, that's to me a customer pick. Like she might have said blue on the day of the shoot, but then that's not really the one she really wants to pay for or really wants to buy or really wants retouched. Because, when you go through them on your own, and you have other people helping you make the decision, you might change your mind. But when I get those 10 or 15 or how many ever images back that they really, really want, then I'll go through and put a pick flag on theirs. Because to me, a customer pick is a customer pick. Like that's the one they really want. All right, then what are the stars for? In case I need another method. Let's say, I'll give you an example. Let's say we both say, yeah, I like it. Well, is it a blue one or a green one? I don't know who said it first, maybe. But if we really like it, and let's say I hit green, then I might put 5 stars on it too, because I know that's one everyone standing around liked. Again, no rhyme or reason. You make up your own system for whatever works for you. Maybe you're only using pick flags. Maybe you're using pick flags and star ratings. Maybe you only use color labels. Whatever it is, maybe use all 3. But there's no rule for this. How to organize the collection itself. What do you mean by, well, we're going to get into some of that, but it depends on what you mean by organize. I mean, how do you get them into the collection? How do you move them around? Like, give me more. What do you want to know about the organization? All right, so now that we know that process and we know that there are keyboard shortcuts applied to each one, P for pick, 1 through 5 for stars, 6, 7, 8, 9 for colors, then that means you can do everything from the keyboard while you're in full screen mode. So if I go back to full screen mode, and I, again, for the sake of example, I hit the number 8, you saw a little green flash pop up there for a second. If I hit it again, it removes it. So green, and that's the other thing. If you don't know if you greened it or not, hitting green again will remove it. So you'll see the little X come up to let you know, oh, you don't want that one. So just remember, you can't hit it twice. Hitting it twice turns it off. All right, so then I go to this one. It's okay. I go to this one. I go to this one. I go to this one. Now, let's say I don't like that one because the foot's cut off. And that would be a reason for me not to keep this photo because I cropped off her foot. So I might hit the letter X to mark it as a reject. So that's the only keyboard shortcut we didn't cover was X, meaning I'm not going to use that photo. Now, I could be overridden. If she was standing there, she might say, well, you could crop down to just my hand on up. And maybe we don't need the shoes in this shot because we have other shots with the shoes. So I could agree with that, but I would say right off the bat, that would be a reject for me. Then I go through, now the hand and his facial expression are kind of in a weird, like she was caught in the middle of changing poses. And I do that a lot sometimes because I can just keep clicking because I might get a good shot while they're changing poses, but this is not a good shot. So letter X for reject. This one's okay. This one's okay. This one's okay. Okay. She's not a model, so don't expect a ton of poses. She's a graduate. And this one's okay. Now, like, I don't like this string, this one little strand of tassel hanging back, but that's something I can fix in Photoshop. So I wouldn't reject it because of that. I kind of like the look for maybe even as a stock photo as she's looking up in the air. So let's say I like that one. I hit the number 8 for green. I like this one with the hands up. What am I going to do next now that I've graduated? Okay, keep going, keep going. Now, I'm going to give you another keyboard shortcut. If you turn your caps lock key on, so you know how you have shift and you have caps lock, but turn my caps lock key on. So I just turned it on. Let's go to the next photo. And what will happen is if you hit one of your stars, picks, whatever, let's say I make this one a green, 8, it will automatically go to the next photo. So you don't, it cuts your keyboard strokes in half. Because instead of me having to hit 8 in next photo, I just hit 8 and it automatically goes to the next photo. Now, if I don't do anything, then yeah, I got to go to the next photo manually. But at least with a keyboard shortcut, you can get through it, or with caps lock down, you can get through it quicker. Now you get into these shots where you have two pretty much identical shots. She didn't change. The lighting got a little brighter on this one, but do I need both of them? Absolutely not. I'm never going to use them both, so decide at this point, which one do you like better? I'm going back and forth. And I kind of like the little slightly overexposed one better. So I'm going to hit the X. Oh, I'm sorry. Undo. Undo. I'm going to hit the X on this one. And then that will take me to the next one. All right. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Oh, wait, wait, wait. Now, eyes are slightly closed on this one. So X going. And that one's just slightly different. So again, this would be like more of a decision process. Do I need both of these? No. So I'm going to probably take the one where the chin is up a little. So I'm going to reject the other one. All right, these are all cool. I kind of like that one, so I'm going to hit the number 8 for that one. She's looking away, looking off into the... Now, I don't like this off look, looks a little off. So I'm going to hit the letter X on that one, like her eyes look a little off on that one. These are all the same. So again, pick one. I don't like that one. And I don't like that one as much. Okay, and I'm trying to get through these. You got 500 to go here. This is what I meant by eyes closed, like she was caught in the middle of a blink. So hard to tell, but yep, she's blinking. Don't need that photo, don't need that photo. Eyes are just squinting in this one, but I don't like it. There we go. Now she's seated. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a couple tips on this one as well. Okay, so now seated. Eyes are slightly closed on that one. X'd it. This one's just one slightly higher than the other one. I'll take the one that's more in the middle. So I'm going to reject the one that's after that one. Going, going, same pose, same thing. So reject one of them. Reject. 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 Now we get into the hat tosses. Now, I'm rejecting this one too because I cut off the fingers. We don't want amputees. We don't want amputations on fingers, hands, feet that are just awkwardly cut off. If you do it on purpose, that's one thing. But this is a mistake. This is not on purpose. So again, reject. And now we get into the hat toss shots. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. This one, she looks like she's just holding it, so it's not really a toss yet, so I'm going to reject that one. And these are okay. Actually, I like that one. Let's make that an 8. Oh, go back. I meant to make that an 8, not a 7. I like that one too. 8, 8. I like that one. These are the same, so we don't need both of them. We don't need both of these. All right, now I'm not going to go through all 500 because it's just going to take too long. So I'm just kind of giving you the thought process behind some of that. And when I go back to grid, you'll start seeing what you did. You'll see the greens you made or whatever color you picked. You'll see your pick flags if you use pick flags. You'll see your rejects if you did rejects, so forth and so on. Now, if we scroll down, we start to bring in our boyfriend here, or ex-boyfriend, because they're not together anymore. But anyway, we bring in the boyfriend, and he's confident, he's cool. But again, caught him in mid-pose there, so letter X. All right, good, good, good. He's kind of like confused, just looking off like, what are you saying? What do you want me to do? Reject that one. All right, same thing. One's looking up, one's looking down. I'll keep them both for now, but I don't need both of these. So reject that one. Nice smile, confident, pulling the jacket together. So do I need the before pull? No. Now we got him pulling it together, smile, so forth and so on. Don't need him about to touch his hat. We can use the one where he touched it, so forth and so on. So same kind of thing. Do I need both of these? No. Let's get rid of one of them. Okay, do I need both of these? No, get rid of that one. All right, kind of walking down the aisle kind of thing. Several of these are the same. So pick one. I'll pick the other one. I'll pick the other one. I'll pick the other one. I don't like that one. If I got a choice, I'll pick that one. Don't need that one. So several of the same exact shot. Just don't need them all. Pick one. Same thing here. Well, I'll keep the hat, so we'll get rid of the other one. And we'll get rid of this one. All right, don't need the hand cut off. Don't need the fingers cut off. Don't need the hand cut off. Don't need the hand cut off. So I'm rejecting all these ones I know I'll never use. All right, dancing, having a good time, thumbs up, okay, yeah, different expression, thumbs up, great. We don't, that's kind of the same one. Don't need the fingers cut off. Fingers were kind of cut off on that one too. Yep, don't need that one. It looks like eyes are closed in Glee, so we'll keep that one. That's a mistake. Get rid of that one. I don't like it. Get rid of this one. They're the same, so decide, pick one. Because if they're exactly the same with a slight change, meaning you move the camera, they're the same photo, you don't need them all. So pick one. Do I have music playing during the shoot? Absolutely, Sean. That's what makes them dance. That's what makes people happy. That's what makes people, like when they hear their songs. And I don't play my favorite music. I play the guests or models' favorite music, because then that way they get into the shoot. They can, you know, have fun with it. So yeah, I always have music playing, never a silent shoot. The only time I do a silent shoot is when I'm actually streaming live because of copyright issues. But when I'm into the actual shoots, music is a must 100% of the time. Because it helps people feel more comfortable when they're hearing their favorite jams. All right. All right. So again, it would just be more of the same. Me going through them and just deciding which ones to keep, which ones to get rid of. All right. So now now we get into the couple shots and so forth and so on. So you kind of saw that process. Just going through, caps lock key down will help you speed through it faster. You started making your decisions on, you don't need multiple ones of the same ones. You kind of delete them. And again, if you have people that aren't used to modeling and aren't used to being in front of a camera for long periods of time, because you got to remember, most people are used to being in a camera for what? A selfie, a couple of shots here and there, and then they move on. They're not used to being in front of the camera for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. So the hats helped, graduation hats helped, because they gave them a prop, something to hold. So if you remember early on when she was posing, she's not a model. So she doesn't know what to do with her hands. She doesn't know what to do with her turns and whatever. So unless you're going to be the person that can instruct and direct your shoot, then it's always better to give them something to hold, something to stand next to, something to lean on, something to basically interact with, so that they feel more comfortable in their shots. Because again, a person that doesn't do this for a living, they do what they see on TV. They do what they see other people do, and they have 3 or 4 stances, and that's it. But once then I was like, oh, you got this hat, start tossing it. Let's get some action shots of it in the air. Let's do that. And then we got into I forgot why she brought balloons. I think these were the school colors. But then it was like, okay, let's walk with the balloons. Let's do things with the balloons. Let's play with the balloons and pull those in. Then same thing with him. He did his standard guy poses that he's seen guys do for years, and he's probably done himself. And then we got past that and started doing some marching, some walking. The music came on that he liked, so we started doing some dancing. We got through that, and again, using the hats as props. So let's do some hat tosses, just like we did before. Let's have you seated so we can get some different looks, some different poses. Also, seated usually makes people more relaxed. So seated, and then once they got together and started interacting with each other, then they had fun, because again, they were a couple, so they parted on good terms. So don't feel bad. but they were a couple. And so therefore, they could interact with each other and they could have fun with each other and laugh and joke and dance and talk and so forth and so on, and interact with each other's hats, to get some of these special moments that they could enjoy. All right, so once we got past that, her putting the hat on him putting the hat on her, just again, giving them something to do that's beyond just stand there and pose. And then when they started dancing, I said, oh, no, now we gotta get some dance shots of you two dancing together. And some of these actually did become some of my favorites, where they were like, again, this one I would reject because she's blocking him. So you can't really see him, so I'd reject that photo. But you get the idea. So once they're having fun and they're really getting into it, then you can get some fun shots that way as well. All right, moving along. So one time the flash didn't fire, like that silhouette shot there. And I decided to say, hey, let's just turn that light off and let's just make it a fun silhouette shoot. And I think this was one of the ones that I kind of liked the best. So you can have fun even with a mistake. So the flash didn't fire. I decided, hey, this is kind of cool. Let's make this a silhouette and let's have some fun with it that way. So we got some silhouette shots in there after just turning the light off, the main light. And then I had her, the reason she's holding her hands like this is because we use sparkles. So I just had her blow the sparkles out and caught those in midair. So again, if you're going to do a grad shoot indoors especially, you have much fewer options of things to do and backgrounds to use, unless you're at a big studio or a big home or big places where you can go to different spots in the location and do lots of different things. So just remember, your grads are having fun. This is probably some of the best times of their lives where they're getting out of school, and now they're about to go into either college or an adult world after college. And so give them things to do to have fun. And you're going to get some cool shots that way. You're going to just give them things to interact with. And you've seen, for years, you've seen the big numbers like, 2018 and whatever. We can always put those in Photoshop, by the way. And you've seen the standard, what I call cheesy props, of balloons that are the numbers, or props they stand by the numbers. And those are the classic shots that kind of everyone expects. But when it comes to modern day graduation shots, it's more about them. It's more about what they do. So in other graduation shoots I've done in the past, like for example, one of the kids I photographed, he was a basketball, football, like he did it all sports wise. So I had him bring in his football gear. I had him bring in his jerseys. Like we did all kinds of shots. Now we did the shirt and tie stuff too. But we did all kinds of shots where he was in his environment, like he was, posing with the basketball shooting, doing jump shots, doing that kind of stuff, and as well as posing with full football gear on, and so forth and so on. So you get that fun kind of thing going on when they're posing with what they've done for the last 4 years as well. And maybe they're, you can do it based on their curriculum or their major. So if they were in arts, they would have their paintbrushes, they would have their whatever they used in arts. If they're mathematics, then maybe you have them posing with slide rules and things that, I know they don't use slide rules now, but anything that would just be comical in terms of that. So just keep it fun, keep it light, keep it entertaining for them, and don't turn it into the, hey, you're graduating cap and gown by a number 2021 and that's it. Give them something else to do. And that's kind of what I was trying to do with this, even though it's mostly just cap and clothes, but giving them something else to do besides that. All right, now let's quickly go through the process. Now that let's say you've gone through all 500 and you've done this reject, favorites, the rest are just okay. What do you do now? Well, now what I want to do is I want to immediately get rid of the things that I didn't like. So I want to get rid of the ones that are rejects. Now, typically what you would do to do this is you would go to the folder, because that's where the photos really are. If If I get rid of them now, it's just going to take them out of the collection. It's really not going to get rid of them. So one of the ways to do it quickly is to just simply select one of the rejects or one of the photos and just say, right click, go to folder in library. What that will do is take you to that photo in the folder, not the collection, in the library. And that will take you right there. Now you're in the folder. So it's a folder called Nay. That's her name, her short name. And now that we're in the Nay folder, if I hit on the Mac, Command Delete, on PC, Control Backspace, that will give me, and I'm going to say remove, that will give me the option. Hang on, sorry, I was just doing another operation that, because I had these synced to something else, and this looks, apparently there's no stopping it. So once you start it, that's it. But anyway, that'll give you the option to delete them, which means move them to your operating system trash or recycle bin or whatever OS you're on, and take them out of Lightroom, obviously, as well. If you just say remove, it's just going to take them out of Lightroom. Here, let me hit it again, delete, and I'm going to say leave the photos on the surface. There we go. Here are your options. And it always gives you, for these 60 photos in this folder, the what I call the wimpy option, the I'm not really that good option. I'm not really that confident in my choices option. That means remove them from Lightroom, but don't throw them away yet. I may need them someday. Then why did you reject them? If it's a I might need it someday, then don't reject it. And it will stay in Lightroom and it will stay there and you wouldn't have gotten rid of it. I've made a conscious decision that these 60, and probably a lot more if I really went through them all, I don't need. I'm good. I'm good without them. I've got ones that are just as good or better than the ones I'm deleting. Usually I'm deleting the ones that are absolutely ones I know I would never use because, again, flash didn't fire in a bad way, like it didn't make it look cool. Person blinked. Person was caught in mid-motion. Things were cropped off that I can't get back. So things like that, I know I'm going to get rid of. So I don't do the what I call the wimpy option, remove from Lightroom. I say, no, delete from disk. I'm confident that these 60 photos are ones that I don't need. So go ahead and get rid of them. Yep, go ahead and permanently delete them off my server. Just do it. And it will go through the process. And now those 60 photos are gone and my day just got better because I'm not looking at some photos that I know I will never use and are constantly taking up space in my storage. So now we go back. Now we're down to 500 or 489 from 5 whatever we were at. And again, I would keep trying to narrow it down to the best ones. And I usually do this alone. This process is very important to do when your client is not looking over your shoulder. Because I guarantee you, if your client's looking over your shoulder, they're going to tell you to keep that photo because they really like it, even though they really don't. And they're going to tell you to get rid of other photos because they don't like them about themselves. Like, oh, I look fat in that photo. Oh, I look skinny in that photo. Oh, I look, my hair's messed up, whatever. And that's fine. They don't have to choose them, but I don't want to delete them necessarily just because they don't like it. I just want to hold on to it because I might like it. Now, if we both agree, oh yeah, that photo's like that's just an awful photo of you, then yeah, go ahead and mark it as a reject. But it's better to do the rejection part on your own, while you're alone, while no one's looking, because then you can make a conscious decision that's not informed by someone else. So, okay, so now let's say we got it down to our favorites. Now I'm going to, hang on, I'm going to bring up a web browser in just a second here. I'm logging on to lightroom.adobe.com. And when I log on to lightroom.adobe.com, that will take me to my same albums that I've synced over on Lightroom. I'm trying to get to the same collection here. Hang on. Oh, I know why, because it's in another folder. There it is. Oh wait, why don't I see it? Oh, because I'm in the wrong one. Duh. All right, let's go back down here. There we go. This is where I want to be. Not conferences. I want to go to Photography Masterclass. And I want to go to there. That's where I want to go. Okay. I brought this up in the browser for a reason, because once I'm in the browser, and once you've turned on, if you go to your account here, let's see, there we go. So you're in the browser, you're in the same exact album/collection, and it's going to reflect the same 480 photos because it's syncing. But once you're here, you're going to go to your icon in the upper right corner that represents your account. You're going to come down to Technology Previews. In Technology Previews, you're just going to make sure that collaborative proofing is turned on. Because if that's turned on, you'll get a special feature that you can use for sharing this group of photos to your client. And that icon for the sharing is down here. Here, let me move this over a little bit, or let me bounce over to the right. There we go. It's down here at the very bottom of the screen, and it's this icon right here. It's the proofing icon. So bottom left corner of the screen, it looks like a picture with a check mark. We're going to click it, and what that's going to do is allow you to enable client proofing. So I'm going to go here and say enable client proofing. And then it's going to give me a custom link for this gallery. And then I can also limit the selection to how many ever I'm letting this person select. And usually my default is 10. Like I'm letting them pick 10 photos that they want retouched and they want to be professionally given back to them in high res. All right, so then your number is whatever your number is. All right, so now that I've done that, I copy that link and send it to her, send it to him, send it to whoever needs it. Usually just to the client that's paying. They can share it to whoever else they want to share it to. But I send it to the client that's paying, and they can then look at them on screen and mark them. Here, let me copy this. I'll show you what it looks like. I'll go into an incognito window so that I'm not logged in. All right, and they can go and check off the ones they want, and they will get a countdown at the top of how many they've selected. So they can go through and they can say, yes, oh, I really love this one. Oh, but I don't love it as much as this one. They can play that game all day long. And then once they're done selecting, I usually tell them, text me when you're done, or email when call me, whatever, when you're done, because I won't know you're done. It will start telling me you made selections. But what's happened to me in the past, I said, oh, I woke up the next morning. Oh, so-and-so's finished making their proofs. Great. I go start editing, and then I get another message like 2 hours later that they made other choices because they weren't done. So let them tell you when they're done, because sometimes they change their mind. They wake up the next day too, and they decide they want different photos. Let them tell you. There's no way for the system to tell you, but let them tell you when they're done. And then you'll get back in your Lightroom browser, you'll see all the ones they selected here. And then you can even add those to a different collection. So you can make those into a new album, I should say. You'll make those into a new album, and they will, hang on, let me see if I can do it real quick. I can't pick one without logging in. Yep, so let me sign in with my my proof account. You can even you can have an Adobe ID that you create with one of your other emails if they don't have their own. So that's another way around it. Adobe ID, there it is. Copy, paste, continue, password, copy, paste, continue. Not now, I don't want to set up a phone number. Okay, now I'm logged in. And now let's say I'm randomly picking some. So she picks this one, she picks this one, she picks this one. So far 4 selected. I'm just randomly going through them, grabbing different shots. 6, 7, 8, 7, 8, 9, and one more. 10, then they can't pick another one because they've picked more than they picked their allotment. And then when I come over here and refresh this, so now I'm back to my view. when I refresh this, it should show me the 10 that they just picked. So then once I see the 10 that they picked, and they called me and told me, yes, we're done picking them. So now I can go ahead and, I didn't mean to do that. I can go ahead and say select all, or just create album. Create album of the 10, yes, add the 10 photos, create an album here, and, or add to an album. I want to create a new album. So create a new album, nays, picks, create album. And now those 10 are in an album that will sync back down to my Lightroom and my Lightroom Classic. All right, so and we're not gonna wait for that syncing because I only got like 4 minutes left, but that is how I would get an album of the ones that I wanna retouch. So let me just show you a quick version of what that would look like. Let's go in, let's go ahead and grab this one. So let's say this is a photo that I want. You know what? I don't want that one. Let me find my favorite. So I'm going to go to Attributes at the very top and click Green. And that will show me, there we go. That'll show me all the ones that I chose. So here are all the ones that I greened at some point. And then I can say, okay, great. This is one that I want to retouch. So I'm going to start doing those kinds of things that I would do to the photo. First and foremost, wait, let me back up. Let's say that I didn't send a gallery, and these are my favorites. I would still create a new collection even if they were just for me. So I'm going to select them all, create a new collection, and nay, TW picks. Okay, these are my favorites. Put them in the Photography Masterclass. Yeah, go ahead and sync them with Lightroom too. Sure, why not? And that will create a collection of just those 10. That way I'm not looking at the other 489 when I know these are the only ones that I need to retouch. I don't need the attributes turned on. They're all here. I can do whatever I want. Now we can go to this photo that we would retouch, and we can say, okay, what kinds of things would we do? First of all, in Lightroom, we would do a lens correction, which has already been applied. Great. We would do a basic panel. We would make sure it's on Adobe Portrait, which looks like I've already done this one. I would hit Auto to auto tone this one. Maybe not, because it made her skin really golden, too golden. So I pull back on some of this stuff. So just because it doesn't mean I like it. We pull back on the contrast. There we go. All right, so now that I've done that, there's some fill-in in the blacks here. So I'm just going to pull that histogram slider over to kind of take that fill-in of pixels down here. And then now the only other thing I notice is like she's got a couple hot spots. Those are my fault from the lighting. So I could try and fix those in Lightroom, but I'm just going to go ahead and fix them right in Photoshop. So I do a Command E, PC, Control E, or right click on the photo and say Edit in Photoshop. That will take a copy of the photo over to Photoshop because it's a raw file. And then just for those that like duplicating a layer, I'll duplicate the layer, zoom in, and I'll start to say, oh yeah, I don't like that bright spot on her nose. So I might take something like the patch tool, do a quick patch selection around it, and just move it up. So it kind of just patches that hot spot right out. And while we're at it, we'll get rid of some of these other hot spots, some of these other things that might be slight distractions around. Now she's got lines under her eyes because she's squinting, and because the hat is creating, oh, I don't like that one. The hat is creating a shadow. So how can we fix that? Well, really quickly, we don't want to remove it completely because she's not an infant, but we do want to reduce it. So we'll pull it down. That will remove it completely. And then we'll do a Command Shift F for fade. PC Control Shift F. Then we can just fade it back in a little. So it's nowhere near as much gone, but we put some of it back. So you put back as much as what looks natural to you. So same thing on this side. You do them one at a time because chances are it won't look right if you're trying to do both at the same time. Command Shift F for fade. Fade that patch back just a little. Bring some of that back in. And there we go. There we go. All right, so same thing with her forehead. She's got a big shiny spot here from the light that was above her. And kind of start patching some of that out. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Too close to that eyebrow. Might still be too close to that eyebrow. Not nearly as bad, though. All right, there we go. So start softening some of that spot. Okay, I am out of time, but then I would save this, close it, return back to Lightroom, and it would be there sitting right next to the original. I would just keep doing that until I got them all 10 retouched. Thanks everyone for joining me. I'm out of time. Stay tuned for the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. We'll catch you on the next one, guys.